Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. We're back at the free-to-play grind. That road to Ultra Nightmare, a long and arduous journey. I've got my morning coffee here with the green screen fill-outs. It's a bunch of leaves, they're all green. They don't work well with the green screen. And as you can see, I'm grinding food. That's my day today. This is what I'm doing, is I'm grinding food because you know what? It's time to get a champion to 60. We're just at that point. We're past that point, technically. Actually, that is what I kind of want to do today. You know, part of what I wanted to do today, I was thinking about just, you know, like I've been doing, covering my progress every day, and I'll probably do a little bit of that as we get through. But I also realized that, you know, I have almost everybody commenting has been absolutely wonderful. So I just really appreciate you guys supporting the channel, watching, subscribing. You know, those of you getting BlueStack links, that's great. That definitely helps me out, you know. All that stuff's been fantastic. But you know, there's also a small portion of people, and to varying degrees, that are commenting on some of the things I might not be doing right. You know, there's a lot of decisions early on, and I'm not going to get them all right. I don't even really necessarily, you know, want to get them all right. That's not really the end game goal for me. I'm not as keen on that as some people might be. I'm not uber efficient. And I think we have to recognize there's a difference in playstyles here. You know, this is not the series that's like, do these things exactly like I do and you will have the best team, the fastest team. Like, no, I'm gonna play the game. And sometimes I'm gonna be really smart about things, sometimes I'm not, but regardless of what I do, I'm gonna let you know, right? I'm gonna be honest, say this is working, this isn't working, these were mistakes, these weren't mistakes. I've already done that. And so, you know, I feel like that's the value of this from a learning standpoint, right? There's entertainment, of course, and that's always great. But what I wanted to do today was kind of flip this series a little bit and take a slight detour, because I had an interesting comment the other day that I thought was worth highlighting. And this is not the only comment I've gotten like this. This was just the most polite. I've seen some comments on other creators' videos that are way more rude and horrible people that would say mean things about other folks for really no reason. But I thought this comment really highlighted some things, and I wanted to kind of go over my mistakes today is kind of what I want to do. But you can see this person says, if you've been, oh, let's shrink that down so we can see that. Yeah, I feel like you've been quite inefficient in your early game progress. No offense. And I appreciate you putting that in there. Masteries on Deacon was a mistake. Either your starter or Ronda would be better. I'm on day 4 and can solo Brutal with a level 50. No point in taking Deacon to 50 before your first 60. It won't make a difference. You should be getting your first 60 between 4 and 6 days, just my 2 cents. And you know what? Just like I commented below, I can't say he's wrong. I think he makes some really good points there. And these are definitely some of the early game mistakes I made in creating this video. So I just want to say thank you for the comment. I do appreciate polite and efficient comments like that. That was really good. The one thing you wanna, you know, a lot of people tend to, you know, insult me along the way, and I don't appreciate that. But clearly, you know, he was just sharing his viewpoint on things, and I appreciate that. One of the things I would say is that he's right in a certain couple respects. If you're trying to be super efficient, and places I might have made mistakes. 1, Deacon to 50. I didn't need to do that, right? I didn't have to do that. Let's put it that way. I don't think it's what I would call a mistake. I'm going to get on the 50 at some point here, whether it's now or later, doesn't really matter. What's the difference of having that early level 60? Well, I mean, the biggest thing is he makes content a lot easier, a lot earlier, right? Being able to have full masteries on a champion, being able to clear a lot of content is really, really helpful. But I didn't have to, but it's also not like, oh my gosh, gotta get that, you know, right away. As you can see, I'm farming Brutal with Elva right now because my Elhain isn't strong enough, and that might have been a reason to put masteries on her, right? So she would be, but I am able to farm it. Yeah, it's slow, but honestly, the time I'm spending doing this farming is inconsequential compared to the amount of energy I have anyway, right? I have more time in the day than I do energy to be able to use. So actually, this isn't a horrible way to go about farming. Is it the most efficient? No, but it's not inefficient, right? You know, I'd rather not spend 3 minutes farming a single stage of the campaign, but it's okay. I have been able to do a lot of things. I've been able to 3-star the entirety of, you know, all the way up through Brutal Campaign. That's a pretty significant spot to be in, and I probably wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't already level, you know, somebody like Deacon to 50, you know, get my Elva leveled up. These things are really valuable, and honestly, it's the Elva's the main part of that, but I was able to beat Brutal Campaign anyway, right? You know, just complete it. So I didn't need to invest everything into one level 60 style champion. That wasn't gonna be, you know, absolutely essential to getting everything done. But I say that, but I find myself now at a point where I have several champions that are worth keeping long term, or at least medium term. And the problem is I need to get someone to 60. You know, one of the big things, your damage starts to jump once you start getting War Master. It makes everything easier, whether you're talking about dungeon content, taking down bosses, whether you're talking arena, whether you're talking clan boss, it's all becomes really valuable. So there is a point where getting someone to 60 is going to be really, really helpful. And he's probably right. That 4 to 6 day window is probably the aim goal of that. I think it was day 6 or day 5. I got 500 energy. And from just a daily login, that should have been the day I got someone to 60, because I could have spent that energy, completely spent that energy farming champions up for food and getting myself ready to go. As it is, I have a pretty good chance, I think, of getting someone to 60 today. And that's because I have leveled several champions to 40. The only champion I leveled to 50 was Deacon. And if you think about it, it's not that big of a cost. That's basically one level 50 champion for the, you know, taking someone to 60. It's not that big of a dump. And Deacon is a lot stronger now as a result. So I don't really regret making that decision. But from a pure efficiency standpoint, yeah, that probably would have been the smart thing to do. Take Elhain to 60. Don't worry about Deacon right now. Get several champions to level 40. And, you know, in some respects, it might have made it a little bit easier to figure out to take the people that I really have no desire to carry on and take them to 60, or take them to 5-star so I can, you know, rank up. So like, for example, right, I've got Elhain here at 50. I've got 2 pieces of food. I've got my War Priest, who I think in my first video I said, oh, she's kind of helpful being a healer early on. She's trash. She's trash. Even if you don't have healing, even if you're suffering without it, she's trash. Like, total food. Total food. Don't mind her taking her 40, because now I can take her 5-star and now I can feed her. It's gonna be great. Assassin, kind of the same. And this is another regret, right? My books, especially my early books, if you don't have clear-cut champions you're gonna want to invest in, just save them. Just save them. I put all my rare books into my starter, Elhain, and that's absolutely something you should do. That part there is a no-brainer. But then I put books into Assassin, and honestly, I wish I had him back, because he's not good. I never really played with him before. I was trying him and stuff, and he wasn't bad for this stage. The thing is, he's not going to grow with my account, and if he's not going to grow with my account, he's more valuable now feeding Elhain and getting her to 6-star. So that's where we have him at. And as you can see, I have several decent champions. I pulled a Venom Mage yesterday, who's gonna be insane for me. So this guy's sticking around. I pulled an Ugo. This guy's sticking around, right? I pulled a Frostbringer. This lady's sticking around. I also pulled Coffin Smasher. And the thing is, Coffin Smasher is gonna be really good for me. But I think I'm gonna end up feeding him, because I am at that point where getting my champion to 60 is going to take precedence. That has to be my #1 thing. Getting someone that can farm stage 12-3 in less than 3 minutes would be nice, and I think is kind of important, and it's gonna help me progress a lot further. Gonna help me progress in the dungeons, where I can actually get solid damage out of that spot. And so this is something that I definitely need to start doing. Hey, just a friendly reminder, if you haven't already, take a moment and hit that subscribe button, as well as that notification bell, so you don't miss the next one of these videos that comes out. And of course, if you guys need help with your account, you can go to my website, deadwoodjedi.com, where I'll be happy to look at your squad and make whatever improvements are needed to be made. But, you know, when I'm doing that, I still want to play my own account. That's why I use BlueStacks, which you'll find linked down below in the pinned comment and description of this video. BlueStacks is a great way to run multiple instances of the game on your computer at the same time. And if you enjoyed today's music, we have that Soundstripe link down below in the pinned comment and description of this video as well. Use code DeadwoodJedi, save 15%. I haven't been worried, you know, there was an interesting comment there about masteries. I could probably put masteries on Elhain, and she would be better as a farmer right now as a level 50 champion. But I don't think my Elhain, with the rolls I've got on her gear, which aren't bad rolls, just, you know, not always game-changing rolls, I don't think she could solo farm 12-3 right now on Brutal, even with masteries. Masteries are really helpful, and I can kind of go over, like, I'll show you kind of what I've done for Elva and Deacon. Deacon, I went down the right side. Elva, I went down the left side here, and basic offensive tree stuff. If I were doing masteries for Elhain, and you can see I did some of the basics, right? You know, a couple that might be really helpful would be Heart of Glory, so a little bit more damage when full HP. Whirlwind of Death, more speed when he kills a champion. Ruthless Ambush, more damage on the first hit. You know, I could even take Life Drinker if I wanted to, a little bit added healing. Could do increased damage against targets with higher max HP. Won't really help me with farming though. You know, Methodical, more damage with the default skill over time. Solid, decent. I would say, you know, more importantly, went 60, then all of a sudden you can take something like Flawless Executioner, or you can take War Master, and I probably take War Master just to help with my other farming. But these aren't like, I don't know, I looked at them and I wasn't like, oh, these are going to be game changing. And maybe this is more my end game brain as opposed to my first couple days playing brain, but I just didn't think those were going to be game changing. Whereas I did think those kind of masteries would be pretty game changing for somebody like Deacon and somebody like Elva as we move through the campaign and move into the dungeon stuff. I felt like they were going to be way more beneficial. And, you know, at this point, I can start focusing more on dungeons. I need to farm food. That's key because I continue to need to rank these champions up. So having somebody good for campaign farming is really, really essential. But at the same time, growing these champions for dungeons is going to be more beneficial long term. That's where my gear is coming from, is dungeons, not campaign typically. So I need to be able to do those two things. So I don't really regret putting masteries on the champions I did. But I mean, if you want to talk uber efficient, yeah, get your one champion super good. I mean, eventually I plan on having masteries on Elhain. If I'm taking her to 60, I'm going to get masteries on her, right? So, you know, these are kind of the thought processes that we're going through. You know, there is another option, right? I could gear up Rhonda. I could basically steal Elva's gear or Elhain's gear, put it on Rhonda, and rank her up instead to 60. It's not a bad idea. I mean, she won't have the books, right? I'm still putting my books into Elva for sure, but she's got a nice AoE there and some really strong single target hits. She could do the farming for me, right? I mean, I have Elva doing the farming for me right now. Almost anything's going to be an improvement on that. And there's not really anybody that's going to be better for that on my account right now. There's no one that's better for that, you know, looking forward, looking long term. But I think I'm at the point where it's like, you know, just let's rank some food up. And this is one of the things I want to get to. I got real distracted early, real distracted with like, oh, this champion could be good for this. Oh, this could be good for that, right? I got my Armiger, I've got my Outlaw Monk, I've got my you know, whatever this guy is, Coffin Smasher. I mean, I don't know that it matters. Does my clan boss damage at this stage really matter? I mean, no. My gear's not that great. The drops are not that great. It's all like 4-star gear pretty much anyway. Like, I don't know that I should be investing into the concern of those champions at this early stage. Now, someone like Coffin Smasher is really beneficial. I was able to pull a Venom Mage who also brings a decreased attack. So at this point, Coffin Smasher is probably less important, and I can feed him, and I probably will into my first 6-star. Same thing with Armiger. I'm going to be able to pull another Armiger down the road. I don't need to have this one be mine. And Outlaw Monk is the same thing, right? Now, keeping Outlaw Monk, keeping Coffin Smasher will probably help my clan boss team early, but getting a champion to 60 will help my overall account faster now. So that's going to be the priority, right? That's where we've got to focus our energy on. You know, I've got a few other options here. I did pull a Defiled Sinner who I just don't like, so I'll be ranking him up as some food as well. So I'll probably be able to keep 1 or 2 of these champions here, but really it's getting someone to 60 has to be the first goal, and I'm just a little bit behind on that. So that's my biggest mistake, right? But one of the things I was going to say, know what is food and what isn't. You know, I'm looking at these champions and I'm going, oh, Assassin, I want to keep him. That's food. Oh, Armiger, I want to keep him. He's food right now. You know, a lot of these champions are food at the moment. You know, I don't need to worry about them, you know, leveling them up or anything like that. Like, they're just food right now. Get someone to 60. Get your 5 champions to 60 and move along, right? I don't have to hold on to all these things. But on the other hand, you know, I did make some smart choices, right? I've held on to Gnarlhorn. It's going to be helpful for the Rosin fusion. I held on to Halberder. Going to be helpful for the Rosin fusion, right? So those are important. Like you can see, I got some extra food in here. But understanding and being able to recognize early on which champions are food and which champions are worth keeping, I think is really, really important and hard to do. You know, it's really easy to get distracted and be like, oh, but this champion could be really good here or there. So just understanding that is definitely important, I would say. I did take a little bit of notes here. Oh, that's a big one. Big mistake I made early on. Looking ahead and seeing what's next. Hold on, it's coffee time. This is early for this kind of talk. Oh, that's better. But yes, looking ahead and seeing what's coming down the pipe. Like, one, there's a news feed here. Use it. It's going to be helpful for you. But yeah, let's look at, like, we got tournaments coming. I got champion training tournament. Well, not a bad idea to wait for that to rank someone up to 6-star, right? It's like right now is the time to get someone to 6-star so I can double dip. What's so good about a training tournament? Well, not only do you get the rewards on the side, which, you know, those are helpful, but look at this. This is a 6-star epic set. This would be massive for my account. 5-star epic, also massive for my account, right? KZ Smuck is trying to beat me right now. I'm a little bit hurt by that, crazy. And, you know, hurts my feelings a tad, but good luck to you. He commented in the video. So this will be exciting to see. I won't be able to catch him, but it should be a fun little adventure. You know, these are things that you want to pay attention to. You got that spider tournament, right? Artifact enhancement events, knowing when those are. Being able to double dip what you're doing normally with the events that are going on is really, really helpful. Now, am I doing that? No, I'm not. Why am I not doing that? Because I have no patience. Basically, I opened a bunch of shards this weekend. Did I have to? No, I did not. Was it beneficial? Semi. I was able to get some, you know, 3-star champions, able to get some 4-star champions that I can use as food to rank up to someone to 60. But on the other hand, there's going to be a summon event, right? Summon rush this weekend. If I had held on to it, then I'm double dipping rewards. And that's definitely the way to go. So, you know, you want to talk pure efficiency? Yeah, save all your shards. Yes, pay attention to what's coming up next. Is it wrong not to do that? No, I'm having fun. I'm playing the game, and I think that's important too. You know, I think there's a balance here where you want to be efficient, but you don't want to take it so far that the game starts becoming a hoarding game as opposed to a playing game. And so I think you want to have that balance, just like a personal playing the game level, right? So for myself, I'm playing the game. Yes, I do realize this is a competition. I do not think I'm going to win. I'm hopeful I'll win because I'll just be smarter and better than everybody else. But like really, a lot of it's going to come down to RNG, and I've already won big time with Elva. It buys me a little bit of time, but more importantly, I just want to play the game the way I want to play the game, which is a little bit, yeah, we're going to keep an eye on efficiency. We're going to track the things that we're doing right and the things we're doing wrong. But also, sometimes we're just going to pull shards because I feel like it. Or I'm going to forge too much gear because I feel like it. Which brings me to another point. Yes, I forged 3 pieces of Swift Parry. They turned out awesome. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made because these pieces here, these was a Willstone, right? These Willstone pieces, I should have been saving to use for resilience. Instead of spending 20 of these for 1 Swift Parry piece, could have gotten me 4 resilience pieces. And that was a huge mistake on my part. Why did I do that? I really just wasn't paying attention. These things happen. These things happen. Is it going to ruin my account? No, absolutely not. I now have 3 really good Swift Parry pieces. So good, in fact, that I would kind of like to get a 4th now, because that's a really solid set. I just need 1 more piece, right? And I have 3 really good pieces out of it. So yeah, you know, there's definitely some efficiency things I could be doing better. I should be doing better that I'm not doing better right now. That's okay. You're gonna make mistakes along the way, especially if you're actually a new player and you're learning what the heck am I doing, right? And so yeah, those are like some basic things that I think I made some mistakes with. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh yeah, keeping an eye ahead. That was definitely big with the tournaments and stuff. That would be really big. Same thing with the missions. I actually recommend read through all your stupid missions that you have. Know what you have coming up so you don't do things too early. It actually saved me on a few things, right? I think I have an artifact that's level 15 because I know that 16's coming up right there, right? So Elva's boots, look at them, stuck at 15. As soon as I get to that mission, I'm gonna go ahead and rock that and get some, you know, keep upgrading really fast, right? So paying attention to those missions. The challenge is kind of the same thing, a little bit harder because those are kind of blocked off so you can't see everything, but knowing those ahead of time helps. But the other thing I want to talk about, even though we're talking about getting someone to 60 as fast as we can, right? It's not like I'm not using those champions along the way. So one of the things that I definitely messed up on, I moved too much gear. First off, moved gear too much, right? I like gearing champions. Like, it's part of the strategy part that I get into, but I've wasted a ton of silver doing that. One of the things I would say is recognize what you want to keep and what can be destroyed. So understanding, just like with champions, what's long-term and what's short-term, the same thing with gear. Because, look, I have my War Priest in a full shield set, right? It's all 3-star pieces. All of this, I can destroy. So when I rank up Elhain, I can sacrifice the gear on her. I don't have to waste silver pulling it off. And I think as much as you can, once you identify this is food, this is food, this is food, no, you want to make sure you're not putting any long-term pieces of gear on those champions. Your 5-star speed boots, don't go on those champions. Your 4-star ones, sure, right? You know, your great perception piece that rolled speed substat, no. The one that didn't roll speed, sure, yeah, it's fine. As long as you can sacrifice it, that's the one that goes on there, right? But understanding that will save you, I think, a ton of silver and a ton of headache. And also that means you'll have the better gear around for when you can properly gear the champions you actually want to use. That's a big thing. I think that's a big thing. What other mistakes have I made? A little mistake. I mean, I'm sure I've made tons. Little mistake, 3v3. I started climbing too fast. One of the things I was really not paying attention to and didn't recognize how bloody hard 3v3 gets really quickly. So I originally had like a full-on defense. You'll notice I kind of trimmed it down now. I don't need a defense. I don't want to win in 3v3. I'm not strong enough to advance up to the next stage in bronze. I want the easy fights, right? And when it comes to 3v3, there are a couple approaches, right? So first approach is kind of like I'm doing. You build 2 teams that are decently geared out, decently damage ability, right? And you try to win with both teams, right? And then you sacrifice one. So I don't have a ton of champions that I can really utilize, right? So this allows me to have, hopefully I'll get 2 wins out of this fight. That's the goal here, right? So this first team, obviously I'm gonna lose. It's their best team. I don't need a win. That's not crucial, right? I plan on losing there. Boom, dead, okay? Second team here, now all of a sudden we have some options. I got Deacon to set up. I got Elhain still dealing damage, right? I got Frostbringer here. And this is a, you know, solid team. Greybeard, you know, level 60 champions or level 40 champion. We killed somebody already. That's a good start. So can I, you know, how can I do this? Can I be successful with this? I don't know. We'll find out here in just a little bit, but this is kind of the idea with it, right? It's just you run 2 teams you think you can win. So this is a little bit slower. It's not perfectly efficient, but it's efficient enough where I can be a little bit victorious. By the way, if my Deacon wasn't level 50, I don't think I could do this. I probably could, but he's so much better as a level 50 champion. It's been really helpful, actually. I don't, as much as it's not the most efficient thing, I wouldn't say that I personally actually regret it. I don't think it's like a huge loss in my case. There we go. And then we got the second team here, which is Elva. Primarily just doing Elva things. Yeah, this is actually a pretty decent team. Getting Ronda is a nice little bonus too. That's another thing I forgot to keep in mind, that we do get a Ronda eventually. And that is something I probably should keep more of an eye on as going forward, right? Oh, there you go. Crack-a-lack. Nice. So you can see, that's 2 wins out of 3 fights, and that's great. The other way to do it is get 1 win. Just make sure you get 1 win. And what's really nice about that is you can farm that same team over and over and over again. You don't have to go looking for fights. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about right here. This team here, I'm gonna get 1 out of these 3 wins. Their Ronda's gonna smoke me. Their Skull Crown's gonna smoke me. That's fine, right? That's fine, because this team here is where I'm gonna get my 1 win. And all that's gonna let me do is farm this over and over and over again. And that's the idea. I don't need to do it anymore. The point is I'm getting some wins. And this early on, getting any wins is a huge coup, I would say, right? So that's kind of the goal with that, I would say. Oh boy, yeah, we're not gonna. Look at those continuous heals from Elva. This is what I love about her. She's so great. But look at that. I lose 1 spot, cool, but I get the win. I'm getting the gold bars, and that's the important thing. And it's still there, so I can farm it over and over and over again. So if I'm having trouble, that's a good way to go about doing it. And I ranked up way too fast, so like that was definitely a little bit of a mistake I did. So anyway, I rambled today. We talked a little bit about some of the mistakes I've made, you know, and I do think some of them are, you know, there are mistakes, and then there are choices that are less optimal, I would say. Mastering Deacon, I do feel like masteries on Deacon are more beneficial than on Elva, but I totally understand why people are like, that was the mistake. And I can really see that. I feel like while it was very helpful, you know, I got a little extra accuracy, debuffs last a little longer, all that stuff, it probably wasn't necessary. And I was just excited to have Deacon. I probably would get more benefit out of having put those on Elhain and letting her be a little bit stronger, start moving a little faster when she's farming. And that might make a big difference. I might be able to farm Brutal right now with Elva, if that, or Elhain, excuse me, if that were the case, if I had made that choice. So that might have been the biggest mistake I did, right? Auto, just put it on your starter. Let it roll, you know? And to be fair, one of the problems is now I'm stuck. I'm like, I kind of want a 60 Elva, and I want a 60 Deacon. I don't really want a 60 Elhain. I never really wanted a 60 Elhain, but I kind of need to, because, you know, the 3-minute farm on Brutal, while that will work for this account, is not the way I should be going. So I need to find a better way. That could be, you know, I put some good gear on Ronda and let her go to town there. That could work too. She hits incredibly hard. I'm not gonna have books for her for a while, but all I need her to do is farm. I don't need her to do anything else. So that's an option. I don't know. I'm probably gonna end up just 60ing Elhain. I think that just makes the most sense. It's the easiest choice. We all know it works, and just go from there. Because eventually I'm going to want these champions at 60 anyway. I don't really have, you know, a ton of great options right now. Honestly, in Arena at the moment too, I should be running 2 damage dealers anyway. Right now, what I should be doing is, instead of her, I should be running this, is what I should be doing. With Deacon giving the turn meter boost and decreased defense, Frostbringer either bringing more decreased defense or giving me an increased attack buff, and then coming in with Elhain and with Ronda for damage. And so when I get her built out, that's what I'm going to be running, right? And so, you know, putting masteries on her would make a ton of sense. It's hard to get away from that. And definitely would be a good option going forward, you know, to use. So these are the thoughts, the various ideas that I keep having in my brain about, you know, what I should be working on. And honestly, I get off on, you know, the theory crafting with a lot of this stuff. So even just considering it, thinking about it, trying to figure out what I want to do next is fun for me. And so, you know, I'm going to overthink some things. I'm just going to overthink some things. If you want to do, you know, what's the basic best strategy? Get your starter to 60, put masteries on them, call it a day. And then you start worrying about everything else. That's the easy way to do it. The smart way to do it, I guess. It's not the way I do it. But you know, we're all gonna be doing it a little bit different every time. So anyway, that's today's video. That's what I want to talk about. You know, I think in the last one I pointed out that I've finished Brutal already. I'm just starting to rank up that food is really the goal, you know, and so hopefully tomorrow I'll have somebody at level 60 or 6 stars, I should say. That's my goal for tomorrow. So we'll see where we're at. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking around and watching. I appreciate you all very much. If you enjoyed today's music, Soundstripe link. If you want to get BlueStacks, I have links down below. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I say thank you, as you are a good soul. That's all we got for today. Until next we meet, I'm the Deadwood. Last thing, forgot to say what day it is. Daily login, so you can see we're in day 7, working at day 8. So we're 1 week in. This is my 1 week evaluation. Mistakes made in the first week. That's probably the thumbnail right now. That's probably the title of this video. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for sticking around until next we meet. I'm the Deadwood Jedi.